The heck? Kim, do you recognize this email from the Pyramid Hunter? We're getting a whole bunch of pyramids. They're actually gravestones. Do you want to come check this out, Kim? This is... I mean, have you heard of the Pyramid Hunter? Because I have no idea. I would sure like to know a little bit more about what these pictures are all about.
Yeah, he really doesn't give us much information here.
Wow, I wonder if there's any way that we could get in contact with that Pyramid Hunter to find what the story is behind these pictures he's sending us.
Yeah, I can email him.
Cool. Look who just popped in. Are you the Pyramid Hunter?
Yes, I'm the Pyramid Hunter. I also go by number 4747.
Yes, and I think most of our viewers are very familiar with who you are, Joe. It's wonderful to have you here for a visit.
Well, thank you.
And
by the way, thanks for the hospitality.
Oh,
our pleasure.
It's all our pleasure. Pleasure.
Okay. Well, I want to tell you a little bit about this.
Please do. Because
during the Leah Remini program on Scientology, I was sent to another hospital to work, and I was in the break room with about 5 nurses, and they were all talking about cults. And, I wanted to get involved in the conversation. We're all eating, and I made the comment that I used to be in a cult, and they all looked at me real funny. And I said, no, I really was in a cult.
Joe, look. You know as well as I do that the Watchtower Bible Tract Society do not qualify themselves as a cult. Now, brother, you know that, brother.
Okay. Well, that being said, I beg to differ. But anyway, so they started asking me about it.
Yeah.
And one of the nurses said that she knew a little bit about the Watchtower. Her grandparents would take her out in the ministry. And she asked me, she said, do you know anything about the pyramids in Holyoke, Colorado? And I'm thinking, pyramids?
Yeah.
And I had just seen quite a few videos. I believe it was Hannah, Cali Girl, 7525. She actually went to Pennsylvania to see...
Russell's Pyramid.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I said, pyramids, because I'm now interested. And I asked the nurse, I said, are you sure they were Jehovah's Witnesses? And she said, well, I don't know, but when I went out in the ministry with my grandparents, by the way, she was not a witness. She would just go with her grandparents. They would always go to this cemetery. And so I decided to take a little trip. It only took about an hour and a half. But I went out there, and sure enough, there were 5 pyramids, a real big pyramid. And of course, one of the things I noticed, there were 4 grave sites. Now, what's interesting, we started talking about pyramids prior to going out to see these pyramids. And first of all, I said, are you sure? Because I didn't want to drive all the way out there.
Yeah.
It wasn't what I thought it was. But I told her, I said, do you realize the very foundation of the cult I belong to, the Watchtower, started with a man that measured a pyramid and came up with a date. And so that got her to thinking. So I went out, and sure enough, I did some research, and then somebody else, I actually did a video on this, and I think I called it the Pyramid Hunter or the Temple of Doom, something like that. But anyway, what was interesting, somebody that was watching the video Googled the family. The family was the Butterfield family. And they were, I guess, Bible students at the time. But the family had died. And the one gravestone, there were actually four graves. What's interesting about the last one to pass away was in 1958. And I'm thinking, when I was there at the cemetery, why would they still use a pyramid headstone?
Yeah.
And that got me to thinking. I mean, it's just amazing that in 1958, because Rutherford actually said in 1928 that pyramidology was Satan's Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He condemned Russell for it. So they weren't in agreement with the
Right.
with the pyramid situation, the study of pyramidology. So in addition to that, I went ahead and did the video. I put it on YouTube, and people were commenting, and one of them did further research. There was one individual, and they were able to find her name. I believe it was Nellie Butterfield, I believe. I may be wrong because there were 3 women that had passed away. But what's interesting, when they Googled the information, she was a part of the Mason group, the female part of the Masons.
Eastern Star.
The Eastern Star.
Yes.
The Eastern Star.
You know, I just to interrupt for just a second, because as you're talking about this, I'm looking at the time period in American history, 1958. Makes you wonder where they got the money to have such a headstone built and carved out. I'm assuming these are granite,
Yes.
which is what typically would. So it's really makes you wonder, the amount of money that these people had to have these headstones done.
Yeah. And what's amazing to me is the fact that in 1928, Rutherford condemns pyramidology.
Yeah.
New light, right? And here we are. I'm looking
New
at
pyramid.
yes, and I'm looking at a gravestone, a pyramid. It's a gravestone, 1958, and I'm thinking, it's almost like another flip flop. Mm-hmm. But who knows?
Yeah, without any, for a lot of our viewers, you're probably going to be wanting concrete evidence that these were Jehovah's Witnesses. It's speculation, I guess. Basically, from the research that someone has already
if
done.
they were Bible students,
If they were,
that
Bible
was
students, I
back
mean,
when it didn't matter.
Yeah, really. Actually, not you. Wow.
And of course, other people are finding things. I believe you found some pyramids as well in other literature and other facilities.
Yeah, in fact, I can put up a picture right here of a brother giving a talk at a, it looks like it's a district convention.
Okay.
And those don't look like mountains to me. Do you know anything about that, Joe?
Oh,
Wait a minute.
okay.
Wait, hold on.
I have a story behind that.
That looks like you giving a talk there, Joe.
That's me giving a talk. That was at the Budweiser Event Center. Yes, Budweiser Event Center.
How many Budweisers did you have to get to drink before getting up and giving this talk?
Here's what's interesting about this whole story.
You need to be honest. It's okay, Joe, to confess that you may have had
2 beers.
2 beers. All right.
2 beers.
That's what we wanted to know.
Yeah, 2 beers will get you on stage when you know there's 8,000 people.
Yeah. Now, did that help
watching.
settle your nerves?
It did. It did. No, what's really interesting about that photo? And this shows how indoctrinated people are. I gave that a 15-minute talk. I was part of a symposium. I just thought that was the layout for mountains.
I know.
And when I posted that picture on a help group, I couldn't believe how many people said, "What's with the pyramids?" I mean, people were saying, it's just obvious these are not mountains, they're pyramids. So then, now that I'm out of the watchtower, I'm looking and I'm thinking, am I standing in front of the Great Pyramid?
Yes, you are.
And so...
Well, and here's the interesting thing is that, from a religious perspective and Jehovah's Witnesses, we have all been taught that we're separate from the world. We have nothing to do with false religion and these ancient religions, but yet it's very clear that Watchtower still has a connection with ancient Egypt and their religion, their mysticism, and everything else. And the more you wake up and the more you look into Egyptology and some of those things, the more you can begin to see connections with Watchtower. And these are some of the deeper things that really concern at least Kim and I. with the research that we've been doing, how much of this really is connected with ancient Egypt.
Yes, definitely. And like I said, it was ex-witnesses that brought this to my attention. I actually just shot that on a help group.
Yeah.
And I think there were some others like before and after.
Okay, wait, look. Okay, look, guys, look, okay. No matter how you guys perceive this man when he's in front of his own camera, this guy's a cut up. He's not all straight faced and laced. I'm telling you guys right now, it's an act. Trust me, it's an act. He's really trying to pump himself up as being one of those good JWs of giving a talk in a district convention when a lot of us never had that privilege. Imagine that, Joe.
Well,
now, a lot of you will probably recognize who Joe is. He is really good at doing parodies.
His YouTube channel is number 4747.
Yes, and this guy has an uncanny ability to do parodies. And actually, a lot of it's based on past experiences being a Jehovah's Witness elder. But just kind of let everybody know why you elected to do your brand of activism with these type of parodies.
well, one of the things, being an elder, I mean, you see it all. I mean, no, I'm not kidding. And the thing is, you could actually do parodies on almost everything that happens, whether it's an elders meeting. By the way, the new video that was leaked, the elders meeting, where they're going around and commending all these individuals, that is not real world.
That's pure unadulterated bullshit, right? That's
Yes.
what that is.
So what I do is I do the parodies because those are actual events. Elders, and I hate to say this, there are good men.
No, there
the
are.
watchtower.
I mean, even Kim and I over the years, we've come across some really top-notch elders. But the sad thing is they're indoctrinated, and they don't realize that they're acting as company men with this whole facade of doing it for Jehovah and for the better good.
They're forced to do it.
Yeah, they're forced to do it, and it's really a shame. But it's, on the other hand, it's nice to see so many of you ex-Jehovah Witness elders waking up and putting yourself in a position to give us better insight as to what really goes on behind those closed doors and how much other elders struggle with the spiritual abuse, sometimes the physical abuse that we all have come to know now.
Well, I will tell you this. The men that really have the right intentions, that want to really help, they don't last as elders.
No.
I'm surprised. I made it 12 years. I think I was at 12 years.
And that's probably why I never got appointed as an elder.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you have a real conscience, there are some things that you are asked to do that today I still fight the nightmares. Yeah. But one of the things I appreciate is the Jehovah's Witness community. In fact, Kim, you mentioned that Spike R sent a nice message letting me know that, we're put in a position and we're used by a group of men that really don't care about the effects, not only on the person that the elders are going to be used to hurt, but the elders that are put in place. I always say this in my videos, that sometimes they make elders pull the trigger on people.
Well, you look in the old days when they used to have like the guy with the axe with the hood on that would execute people, chop off their heads, or the hangman that would actually pull the lever to hang a person. I mean, that's basically what elders are forced to do.
Yeah, and like I said, I just I'm trying to get through it, and I know there are other men out there that are ex-elders, and I hope someday that the nightmares will stop, because I will tell you this, it's not just Armageddon nightmares that I deal with.
Right.
I started at 3 years of age. The nightmare Armageddons plagued me to this day, and I still have them. But it's the Judicial Committee nightmares.
Yeah.
And that doesn't go away. And so, I know the pyramids, when you think of the message that that sends, the fact that the Watchtower is still using images really shows how effective they are in controlling not only your thoughts but your emotions.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
This has been wonderful having you here.
Now, we just happen to have gotten some elders' letters today that we wanted to share with everybody, and this is a list of publications that are to be discarded for 2018, and we just wanted to cover a few things here that we noticed. Watchtower Library, any previous years are to be discarded. Any book published before 1985, except the All Scripture is inspired of God, and the Comprehensive Concordance, and the New World Translation of the Holy Scriptures.
So I can get rid of the youth book?
Yeah!
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any brochure published before 1980, so we can all get rid of our Trinity brochure.
Wonderful.
Any booklet published before 1990. Whole list here. I'm just going to cover a few of these. My Book of Bible Stories.
Actually,
discard all versions prior to 2004.
And there's actually quite a few books
Two
on here
pages.
that Watchtower
Two
wants
pages.
to get rid of.
True Peace and Security. The Revelation, Grand Climax at Hand. Discard all versions prior to 2006. The Worldwide Security Under the Prince of Peace. Discard that one. Now that is the one that we use to show that Jesus is not the mediator of the great crowd.
Right.
So we can see why they're wanting to get rid of that one. The Knowledge Book. Worship the Only True God book. Let's see. The brochure, Jehovah's Witnesses in the 20th Century. Jehovah's Witnesses Unitedly Doing God's Will brochure. New World Translation of the Christian Greek Scriptures. That's an oldie.
Yeah.
Organized to accomplish our ministry. Any prior to 2005.
But-
Not just discard,
Right.
but it says
Destroy
destroy.
Destroy it. Wow.
School and Jehovah's Witnesses. Sing to Jehovah in his size. Discard.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I wonder why.
So are we looking at book burnings then?
Yeah. Yeah. Modern day book burnings.
Now going back to this one, didn't we study the Revelation, its grand climax at hand, at least 4 times, if not?
If not more.
Because they studied it again in 2006.
Yeah.
And I know, like, our study editions were so full of whiteout that...
Yeah. Typics. According to Mark and Cora.
This was a paralyzing book for me to conduct, because every time I prepared, I realized I don't understand this.
Yeah.
And they would have. I'll give you one example, and I don't remember which chapter, where it connected something that happened in heaven with Cedar Point, Ohio. And I was even asking my wife at the time, what do I do with this?
Yeah.
What if somebody says, prove it? But that's not going to happen.
Yeah. No, that's not going to happen.
But this was a book that I did not want to be a conductor for.
Well, Joe, that's why they want to get rid of it now, because it's waking up elders.
Yes.
Well, a funny story about that, because when I was a ministerial servant, I actually had to do some Bible book studies from that Revelation Grand Climax at Hand. And it was interesting because my dad was an elder at the same time. And what he had done is he was also conducting studies from the same book. But a year prior, before we were going to be studying this book for, I forget if it was the second or third time around, Watchtower had come out with their daily text. And the large portion of those daily texts had to deal with the book of Revelation. So what my dad did, and I copied his example, he took those daily texts, and every single one of those daily texts, he would cut out and tape to the Revelation book where the scriptures were, giving an explanation, so that my dad and myself too, I felt like I knew a whole lot more than everyone else because I was, cutting and pasting the comments from the daily text. So if it was really easy to, Watchtower sell the bullshit, because that's what they were doing. Because the brother that was conducting had, if he was smart, he had the daily text that was giving supplemental information from Watchtower regarding. Yeah. So, I mean, for me, I actually enjoyed doing it because I had those daily texts in my personal copy.
You know what's interesting about this, this list of publications that they want discarded or destroyed? These were publications that they were very happy at conventions to release.
Well, life-saving material.
Life-saving material, and now they're erasing their history.
Yeah. So now it really begs the question is, are they trying to re-identify themselves so that in another 20, 30, 40 years from now, nobody will even know who and what Jehovah's Witnesses were?
I just noticed they're saying the research guide for Jehovah's Witnesses, that's a fairly new, publication that you can get, on their website, and it says previous years. So, I mean, their new light is changing so quickly that even if it's from last year, get rid of it.
Get rid of it, yeah. Exactly.
Wow.
So this is interesting.
Yeah.
And even your convention badge card and invitation, out of there.
Wow, I didn't even see that. This is amazing.
Look at this one too. Yearbook of Jehovah's Witnesses. Previous year, display offered to another congregation, then discard. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't this one of Jehovah's Witnesses' greatest source of encouragement from the yearbooks, when you get to read all of the people coming into Watchtower and all of the personal trials and tribulations that, that just make Jehovah's Witnesses strong and want to be part of the organization, and now they want to get rid of all of that encouragement?
In fact, remember the talk I gave in front of the pyramid?
Yeah.
I had to give an experience. The outline is very clear. You don't deviate because there's a monitor.
Yep.
There's a man. The chairman has the outline, and there's a monitor. And you go above and beyond. You read a scripture that's not on the outline, you get pulled to the back. That's the information control. But I got to tell you, there was a yearbook experience that I had to share, and I actually didn't believe it. But you know what? I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
I'm going with the flow. And it was an experience, and it was in Africa, and this person would walk 7 miles to a kingdom hall on wooden crutches. Now, I tore my meniscus.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't walk in the house on crutches. And I'm thinking, did this really happen?
Yeah.
So, maybe they just want to erase a lot of things, especially some of the things that people are saying, come on,
Yeah.
Like the kid selling his bike,
Chickens,
or half
yeah.
half the garden went to Watchtower.
Yeah.
It's like
Raising
wow.
the chickens to give the money to Watchtower. It's like, come on. I mean, nobody's buying that stuff no more.
Yeah,
It's just
and I
ridiculous.
think that's probably why they're not going to have a yearbook anymore.
Well, look at even examining the scriptures daily. Previous years, discard.
Wow.
You think that would be encouraging?
All of that Bible
so you could look back.
information.
Yeah.
Old light, get it out of there.
Wow.
Interesting.
Interesting. Thanks for bringing that to our attention.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I thought that was interesting, them getting rid of some of this stuff. We use a lot of this in our videos.
Well, and that's where I gotta stop and ask why would Watchtower want to get rid of the information when they know that a lot of our bookshelves are plastered with it, and we're not going to get rid of it. So even 20 years from now, this information can still be found and still used against them. So I don't understand their logic or thinking in wanting to get rid of it, because we can still do videos exposing it.
Yeah. I will share one thing, and I actually was talking to somebody from Colorado, and she gave an experience, and now I understand what she was talking about. she went to the hall. She wanted to see how many were going, and she went to one of the back rooms, and there were bound volumes all the way to the ceiling.
Really?
And publications, and one of the men in the back, whether he was an elder, attendant, whatever, he said, "What do you need?" And she asked, "What are all the books in here for? They're up to the wall." And he said, "We're getting rid of them." And I wonder if this is part of the
Could be. Yeah, very well could be.
Well, let me ask you this, because I've been out for 6 years. I mean, I'm not up with what the Watchtower's doing. What about the Proclaimer's book? Because is that the one you're talking about?
No. Because
Okay,
this is
so this is the one they need to get rid of. Yeah, because it talks about pyramidology. It talks about some of the other things they did. And I think this is the one they should put on the list.
That's the one they should. Hey,
That's just my opinion.
hey, did you catch that? It's our opinion that you need to get rid of that book too.
If you want to sanitize your history, get rid of the Proclaimer's book
Yeah.
and the youth book.
Yeah, and the youth book, yeah. And, get rid of Mankind's Search for God book, too, because, obviously, since you've tricked us all into thinking that we were finding God in all these books, we didn't. We didn't find God. We found
a cult.
a cult. We found entrapment. We found slavery. We found child abuse. We found spiritual abuse. We found every type of abuse imaginable.
I want to share one more thing with you with the leaked videos for the new convention. The videos are not real world, and I'm going to give you just 2 examples. First of all, the people that are not witnesses are demonized severely.
Oh, yeah.
And then the one that really struck me, and this is why they may be doing videos, because you could erase a video. Well, somebody's going to copy it. But the one that was so disturbing to me was the family having the study, and of course an elder's there to see how the family's doing. And he notices, I believe the kid's name is Brad, and he says, "Brad, what's bothering you?" And Brad's looking at pretty much an Armageddon picture, people dying.
Yep.
Now, he says, "Will Jehovah tell us what to do? Will we be able to fight?" And I'm thinking, that is not a real world response. That is pure propaganda. And that really bothered me a lot, because I was in the Watchtower 49 years total. I could say easily 46 years of that was dream after dream after dream, people being destroyed, Armageddon nightmares. And I'm just thinking, why are they putting that in the minds of their flock?
You know why? Because it worked so well on you all them years ago, and it's going to work so well in the young kids today.
Yep. I agree.
Because it was a proven technique, and they're going to go back to what works. Fear. Fear is a horrible, horrible weapon.
And it's so sad that they're actually experts at fear, obligation, and guilt. And, this is with all cults.
Yeah.
In fact, right here is the bite model. Information control.
Yeah.
They're controlling the information. They released it, and now they say toss it.
Yeah.
That's information control.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Thank you,
And
Kim.
that's why you made such a good point in the video you just did about War of the Worlds, talking about fear. Because that's exactly what they do. And that was a really good video. So if you guys haven't had a chance to see that one yet, go see it. It's his video he did, War of the Worlds, and it's really good, talking about fear.
And he does wonderful parodies when he's not caught off guard.
Yeah, if you ever get a chance, come and visit my channel.
Yes, please do.
And I just want to let you know that I am so grateful for the ex-Jehovah's Witness community, and so grateful for you. I will tell you, when I mentioned earlier today when we were having the nice and delicious fajitas, that the first video I ever stumbled on was a prostate check, and it was Forever Young. And you know, I would actually play that to fall asleep. And then I found you guys, and when I realized there's a community of people that have been hurt by an organization, and to see this community growing, and it's a wonderful thing that we could support one another.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I had a great day with Mike and Kim.
We had a great day with Joe. We've had a lot of laughs, a lot of fun. It's a shame that it's going so quickly.
Yes.
Well, thank you guys for your hospitality.
You're very welcome,
Well,
Joe.
thank you.
Love you, brother.
Love you too.
I'm glad you came.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Our pleasure.
I'll hug you later.
Enjoy the outtakes.
I'm going to kind of put you on the spot with a impromptu parody.
Okay.
Let's see how well you do. Brother Joe, if you got a minute so I can talk to you?
Sure.
It's about a real personal issue. You know, I've been encouraged to seek the shepherds in our congregation with these troubling issues. Last night, I went to bed thinking about teddy bears, and I just couldn't fall asleep, so I started counting M&Ms. And in the middle of the night, I had a wet dream. Could you tell me why that happened, going to bed just counting M&Ms?
Well, Mike, you may not believe this, but the elders already talked about. Oh, you know what? I'm struggling with this one.
So could you help me understand why that since I went to bed counting M&Ms instead of sheep, I ended up having a wet dream? Could you help in? Because, you know, we were given direction to try to analyze why we had wet dreams. So could you help me analyze this, Brother Joe?
I'm struggling with this. Can we go to this one? I think I have a mind block.
Now you see why I have to
I'm having
edit.
a mind block.
He does this to me all the time.
You know what'll be great? This will be great for the outtakes.
I'm just like, I'm trying to.
Joe,
See, when I do my
green
parodies,
M&Ms, green M&Ms.
When I do my parodies, I'm like, I already know what the other person's saying because it's me.
You're messing him up.
Okay. Well, Mike, you weren't counting green M&Ms, were you?
Well, that's all I counted. Is there a problem with that?
Well, you know what they say about green M&Ms.
No. What?
See, I'm sorry. Mike, where do you come up with this stuff? Mr. Morris. Okay, this is Joe. Did you talk to the other governing body members? They're good? Okay, so here's how it's going to work. You're going to wire us the money. You're going to wire us the money. I'm going to call my people. Once it's wired, I'll plant the bugs. Okay? Okay, hold on. It's pin number 4747. Wire the money now. Jessica, give me Dave. Well, give me Maggie. Maggie, I need you to check to make sure the money's being wired. $4 million. Okay, got it. Tony, thank you for your business. I'm going to plant the bugs. And by the way, what's this beast? Make sure I take the beast. Okay, I'll do that. I'm going to plant the bugs. I love doing spy stuff. Perfect place for a bug. What the heck is this? Okay. I gotta find that beast. Brother Inactive? Yes, this is Brother Hammer time. As you probably have heard, the governing body finally announced it. They feel that the Great Tribulation is imminent. And with that in mind, you probably know that we've been building a lot of bunkers in the area. In fact, we've been building them in the circuit and the district. And the branch sent a letter to all bodies of elders because we're building so many bunkers. They noticed that more money is going out than coming in. And so we want to admonish you and encourage you to continue to give to the worldwide work, because these bunkers are not cheap. And keep in mind that it doesn't just benefit the local congregations, but it benefits the brothers worldwide. We want to make sure that these bunkers are ready for the Great Tribulation. And then the governing body asked that the body of elders visit with individuals that have been inactive. So with that in mind, how are you and Sister Inactive doing? What do you mean this is the first time we've ever shown concern for you? Don't you remember about 3 years ago, after we disfellowshipped your daughters, a brother and I, we came to your house and we offered some timely encouragement and counsel. And we actually told you that if you shun your daughters, treat them like they're mentally diseased, they will see the error of their ways. And they will come back to the organization. And they will come back to you because they'll miss you. And you know, Susan did come back. And you know what's interesting, she was reinstated, but we haven't seen her in the last 4 months. She's in a mental institution. Well, Brother Inactive, I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm going to try to be as tactful as an elder can be. But you know, your daughter Susan has always been unstable. I'll give you an example. I'll never forget, we were out in service, and we were out for about 3 hours, and we were passing by McDonald's, but we were heading toward the Kingdom Hall. And she had asked if we could stop at McDonald's. And when the group said no, we're only about 10 blocks away from the hall, she blew a gasket. And let me tell you, she was hostile, aggressive. In fact, she scared 2 of our older sisters. So I can see why she had a nervous breakdown and is in a mental institution. And by the way, I want to talk to you about Kathy. You know, we have worked so hard with Kathy to try to get her reinstated. I've been on all 8 reinstatement hearings. And I'll never forget the last hearing. She came in, and you're not going to believe this. She told the committee that she wanted to be addressed as Lady C. Now, we looked in the Shepherd the Flock book, and we couldn't find anything to hold her back. But the elders discussed it, and we realized what she was doing when she changed her name from Kathy to Lady C. She was showing gross disrespect for you and your wife. And that's why we held her back. And until she goes back to Kathy, she is not going to be reinstated. And unfortunately, if she's not reinstated, there will be no place, no room in the bunker for her. And I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. How's JT? Well, I'm going to tell you, JT's a fine brother. I'm going to let you know he has helped the congregation immensely. But we gave him an assignment a while back. And what was happening in the congregation, a lot of the friends were using the term non-witness instead of worldly. Now, we know that everyone outside the organization is worldly. That's the way it is. So we asked him to do this local needs. so they could be adjusted in their thinking. Now, 2 weeks prior, we had that wonderful talk by Brother Morris about tight pants. And he spoke extensively on the need for brothers to avoid tight pants. So JT gets up on the platform, and I am shocked. Now, I know this is gossip, but I'm an elder and I'm allowed to, but please do not share this with your wife. He gets up on the platform, and he's wearing one of these tight-fitted Italian suits. And the brothers, the other elders, were shocked. So we are going to have to talk to him. We may have to remove him as an elder, because what we felt he did was chafed at that wonderful counsel by Brother Morris. And you know, Brother Morris is a governing body member, and we have to respect his loving counsel. And so I don't know. We're going to have to talk to JT. Hey, hold on a second. There's somebody at the door. Hold on. Wonder what's going on. What's the password? Brother and Sister Zealous, what are you doing? You're supposed to be at home hiding. Oh, the Great Tribulation isn't starting? When did you hear that? Oh my goodness. Okay, thanks for telling me. Damn watchtower. Hey, Brother Inactive, I'm sorry. That was Brother and Sister Zealous. Evidently, there's been some new light, and the governing body made a mistake. The Great Tribulation is not near at hand anyway. You know, there was a watchtower a while back that did mention that they were infallible and they could make mistakes. But keep in mind, they are still the channel between God and the great crowd. So when they make these announcements, we have to pay close attention. We have to understand that they know what they're doing. Now, they may have made a mistake here, but who's to say the next announcement is the real announcement? So we just admonish you and your wife to get back to the meetings, and we encourage you to get back in service, because remember, there's just so many spots in these bunkers. What was that? What was the click? Oh, I'm sorry. That was me putting my bound volumes in the refrigerator. You got to protect the bound volumes. But anyway, I'm sorry that I called you, and I hope this call didn't disturb you. But again, they canceled the Great Tribulation for now. But keep in mind, they may be making another announcement. And as you know, they are the channel between God and the great crowd. And we have to heed all of their loving announcements. You take care, brother.
Bye,
Bye, everybody.
everybody.